Arsenal didn't just beat Fulham 3-0, they sent a message. In a title race where every point feels heavy, Arsenal came into this match knowing there was no room for hesitation. This wasn't simply about winning. It was about keeping pressure, keeping momentum, and showing that when the opportunity appears, they can take control of it. And from the very first whistle, that urgency was obvious. Only 9 minutes had passed when Arsenal struck first. The move started with patience, but once the opening appeared, it happened quickly. Bukayo Saka found Victor Gyökeres in space, and the finish was calm, clinical, and ruthless. There was no panic, no extra touch, just a forward who already knew where the ball was going before it reached him. At 1-0, the Emirates settled into belief. Fulham had barely had time to organize themselves, and already they were chasing the game. To their credit, they tried to respond. They pressed a little higher, tried to disrupt Arsenal's rhythm, and looked for moments to break forward. But Arsenal's control in midfield was too clean. Every time Fulham tried to build something, Arsenal seemed to close the door before it fully opened. As the first half moved on, the game became more tense. In the 23rd minute, Sasa Lukic went into the referee's book for tripping. It was a small moment, but it reflected the bigger picture. Fulham were beginning to arrive just a fraction late, forced into reactive challenges because Arsenal were moving the ball faster than they could recover. Then came a warning. Around the half-hour mark, Arsenal thought they had doubled the lead. Ricardo Calafiori found the net, and for a second it looked like the game might already be slipping completely away from Fulham. But the flag went up. Offside. The goal didn't count, but the message was clear. Arsenal were not easing off. And then, 5 minutes before halftime, they found the second goal that did count. Again, it involved Gyökeres. This time he turned provider. Spotting Saka's movement, he slipped the ball into the right area, and Saka did the rest. A composed finish. 2-0. That goal changed the feeling of the match. At 1-0, Fulham still had hope. At 2-0, Arsenal looked like they were in full command. But Arsenal weren't done. Deep into first half stoppage time, they struck again. Leandro Trossard picked out Gyökeres, and once more the striker delivered. Another sharp finish. Another moment of real quality. 3-0 before halftime. And by then, the match had already tilted heavily in Arsenal's favor. The second half was different, not because Fulham suddenly took over, but because Arsenal no longer needed to force the game. They had done the damage. Instead of chasing more goals recklessly, Arsenal became smarter. They controlled possession, slowed the tempo when needed, and made Fulham do the running. There were changes on both sides. Fresh legs came on, tactical adjustments were made, but the pattern barely changed. Fulham tried to find a way back, but they never truly looked like a side about to overturn the scoreline. Arsenal's defensive structure remained solid. Their midfield kept circulating the ball with authority. And every time Fulham thought they had a route forward, Arsenal seemed one step ahead. As the second half wore on, the game became less about chaos and more about control. Gyökeres eventually made way after a decisive performance. Saka was also taken off, his work already done. The key figures had delivered what was required. And that, in many ways, summed up Arsenal's night. This wasn't one of those dramatic matches where they had to survive a late storm. This was something else. This was a team recognizing the importance of the moment and handling it with maturity. 3 goals in one half. A clean sheet. Control from start to finish. In a Premier League title race, those details matter. Because sometimes it's not just about winning. It's about making the win look inevitable. And against Fulham, Arsenal did exactly that.